Hello, I'm Manawiltos, and today I'm just going to be talking about some stuff, but I decided why not have some Sudoku out while doing it instead of just having a blank screen. So I put it on hard difficulty because, well, let's be honest, today I don't really want anything too challenging while I'm talking because otherwise it's going to be very distracting, although I think I am going to be a bit distracted anyway. So I have come to the decision that I will probably be dumping the 0 AD video that I had in the works simply because it will not render anytime soon. Not because it's slow at rendering, but rather because it's just not rendering at all. So that is gone. However, I will make a replacement one. So for those of you who didn't know exactly what it was that I'm talking about a video that I had been in the process of making that was describing got all the ones. That was describing the Persian faction in civilization, culture. Don't know exactly what to call them. Anyway, I was making a video talking about sort of the backstory of that culture, the Achaemenid or Achaemenid, whichever is your preference. Talking about the backstory of that culture, and I decided that, well, my commentary in that video wasn't top quality anyway, so I might as well remove it. And it's really funny that it wasn't top quality because I even had slowed down the game and put it on a really easy difficulty, but somehow I still had problems focusing on what I was saying instead of what I was doing. So that might be a problem that I'm having, that I just cannot not focus on the game. And that is, of course, always a big problem that you don't want to deal with. So anyway, do you like Sudoku? I certainly like Sudoku. I think I'm relatively good at it. I actually like to play the 5x5 ones that are a lot bigger than this, of course, by simple virtue of being bigger. But anyway, I find Sudoku quite fun. So let's actually have a serious Sudoku video. So I guess this is sort of an audio blog episode of whatever, where I'm just going to be playing a bit of Sudoku, but I will be talking about various things. Oh, so there's 3 in this column. Okay, there you go. There we go. And what else did I want to talk about? Well, I tried out a new video editing software and it's having the same problems as the old one. So it might actually have to do with my graphics card being old, or perhaps my drivers being out of date. And in fact, the problem that I'm having here is with my drivers. The reason I'm not updating my drivers, or the reason I can't update my drivers rather, is because I am on a Windows 8 operating system. That is 8 with a 0 after the point, 8.0, which means that I don't have a Windows 7, I don't have 8.1, don't have Windows 10. Is there a Windows 9? There probably is. I don't have any of that, which means that the problem I am having is, since I'm having problems updating my operating system, I can't update my driver because my driver is linked to the kind of operating system I have, and because the drivers don't have support anymore for this operating system, it means that any updates to the drivers that have happened since they stopped supporting the Windows 8 operating system do not apply, which can be problematic if you want to do anything with graphics, really. But I guess I just have to live with it, and live with it I will. Okay, so let's see, can I think logically here? I'm not at a loss. It's just I haven't been focusing on the game too much, but I think this is obvious, very obvious. There, just having a bit of a thought on perhaps 9. There's no evidence of a 9 anywhere else on the board. Oh, there's only 9. That's actually pretty. That's a key factor there, that this is the only 9. Because if there were another 9, then perhaps we could identify crossover points and probability fields for that. I think I'm getting a bit too physicsy here talking about probability fields. This isn't quantum physics. This is a game of Sudoku. However, similar concept though. You have to find out where things are likely to be. For example, phrase here, here. 2 of these 4 phrase. Either this or that, either this or that, either this. Yeah. So that's life, I guess. You just look at things and they're either there or they aren't there. And if you're talking about quantum physics, then maybe there's a 6 right there, because that's pretty obvious. I haven't gotten into the heavy logic stuff quite yet, and I hope I won't have to. But anyway, the other day I had a bratwurst in my baguette. I was eating that, and it was pretty good. By the way, that wasn't symbolic. That's literally what I was eating. And that has nothing to do with any cultural relationship between Germany or France, for those of you who might get upset about that. However, let's be honest, if you're talking about football, as the game is called throughout most of the world, then maybe Germany has the slight edge there. Also more population, so I guess more manpower. But I don't think that's really relevant to anything that's going on nowadays. Unless there's this massive conflict, but I don't believe that exists at the moment. So there's an 8 there, and that's fine. So there's probably an 8 in one of these 2. Well, there definitely is an 8 in one of those 2, and there's definitely an 8 in one of these 2. But I like logic, alright? If you don't like logic, then I can't help you on that one. Maybe you should learn to like logic, because logic is pretty important in life. If you don't have logic, then what do you have? Well, a lack of logic, that is. Okay, so we've got 7s all throughout this little L-shaped area. Which means crossover points are all over here, or at least all the relevant ones. So, yeah. 7's there, okay. So, I don't really see the 7s cutting off anything anywhere. Well, maybe here, well, but that's not relevant because this is in here anyway. I guess you just have to do the math. When you're doing Sudoku, you do the math. You look at who's having fun, who isn't having fun. There's 5 in one of these 2 for sure, because it has to be, there can't be a 5 here. So the only place in the column it can be is over here, which also means that there's a 5 in one of these 2. And then that begs the question, can there be a 5 here? Or here, or here? One of these 3. Or perhaps even this one. So the question of, is there a 5 right here or right here, is determined by whether there's a 5 over here. Of course, there could always be a 5 somewhere down here. And that's the problem. Yeah. If you don't like problems, then I guess Sudoku's not the game for you. Because there's a lot of problems, a lot of patience. And if you don't have patience, then maybe you should have played a different game. Because this is a game all about focusing and thinking about what are the probabilities on this, what are the probabilities on that. And if you're talking at all times, then you might not be able to figure it out. However, there's a 6 somewhere over here. In one of these 2. Well, no, not necessarily. Actually, now that I think of it, it could be here. Could be here. Well, no. Well, yeah, yeah. No, there. There's a yeah. It's a distinct possibility that it could be here. So, yeah. Speaking of logic and things, board games. Okay, I love playing board games. And I'm not talking about online board games. I like playing them in person because I think that a big part of my game is psychological. I will talk to people, and talking to people really gives me a heavy edge when playing a game. A knife's edge, perhaps even. Well, maybe not. Maybe that's too extreme an example to say. However, I talk to people when I play board games, and I gotta be honest here. These people, they don't see it coming. They do not see the wind coming, and I can feel the wind in my win, and there is not a 6 here because it can't be here, so it has to be one of these two. And talking to people when you're playing a board game really allows you to get into their heads, and that's a big part of my game. And I'm not demeaning people when I talk to them. I'm actually very polite, and I give people advice. And you might think, oh, he's talking about messing with people's heads when playing board games, so it's obviously bad advice. But that's actually not a correct assumption to make, because the advice that I give to my opponents in board games is usually very sound advice. However, let's say there's different tiers in gameplay. Let's say there's 4 tiers. Tier 1 is a total noob that doesn't know how to play. Tier 2 is someone that's not that good. Tier 3 is a good player. And Tier 4 is just someone that is wrecking everything. So I will play at a Tier 4 while giving people Tier 3 advice that is entirely correct and allows the other players to easily beat each other. However, it doesn't allow them to beat me because I operate at a different level of gameplay, on a much on a higher level, in a strategic sense, that I am looking at the big picture while giving them sketches of little bits of a big picture, but they don't see the big picture because I see the big picture, and I am in fact the one who is drawing the big picture. So they see what's going on, they think that they have a chance, but in the end, they didn't have a chance to begin with. It was practically decided from the start of the game that who was going to win. And of course, that irks some people. Some people don't like the concept of a no-win scenario, but that is how I play my games. I play my games in a way that psychologically you're trapped. I trap you psychologically, and I move in for the kill. So you might say, well, if you follow my advice, then it leads you to a position where I can beat you. But if you do the exact opposite of my advice, then you're practically following bad advice, because then it leads you to a position where you would lose the game by sheer virtue of not having a good strategy. So what I'm saying is, I give people great advice, some really good strategy, but I keep the best for myself. Well, not necessarily, though. It really depends on the game. And also, making deals with other players is always a big part of gameplay. A really big part. I remember one game, I was playing Risk, and I had conquered Asia, all of Asia, on my second turn. And then it was, I think, a 3-player game. So I'll actually drop some names because these people have actually appeared on my channel. So we have Anthony and Lucy and me, Anawultos, whose real name is not getting mentioned for now. We were playing some Risk, and I went in, and I said, well, I made a deal with Lucy. I said, I'll take Asia, and I'll let you take Europe. So that's what we did the first 2 turns. And then on the 3rd turn, she had Europe, and I had Asia. And as such, my deal became null and void, because we both had achieved our goals. So I now got the troop boost from having Asia. And since I went in turn order before she did, this gave me an advantage, a strategic advantage, that I used to take away the Ukraine, or Ukraine, if you don't want to say the Ukraine. I took away Ukraine from her, and that negated her, I guess, bonus for having Europe. So I made a deal. I followed all the conditions of the deal. So once it was complete, then it was time to move to the next phase of the game, and that was, of course, to crush everyone else in the game, taking out maybe a continent each turn, or even faster, depending on how I'm feeling that day. Yeah, I'm good at Risk. So anyway, she got so mad, and I basically had it in the bag. I think it counts as a win for me, but she literally flipped the table because she got so mad at me just wrecking her really hard. And yeah, I guess it does inspire such feelings in people when they get beaten at games. Okay, so let's actually focus on the Sudoku. I'm trying to think. So we've got a 7 here, and a 7 here, and a 7 here. Of course, 7's all for out here, but it doesn't look like we can do anything immediately with them. So I think the best course of action is to go along a line, a row or a column, that is, and see if there's any one that is near complete. I think the one that's best is this one and that one. For this purpose, that is the best one for our current purpose. So of course a 9 could be anywhere in here. A 2 could be anywhere in here. Oh, we only have 1 2. So yeah, that's a bit difficult. So right here, 4 5. A 6 cannot be here, so a 6 has to be up here. And a 7 cannot be down here, which means it has to be up here, which means we have now established that these 2 can only be a 6 and a 7, which is very important because it also establishes that only these 2 can be a 7, but that's pretty obvious anyway. But so only these can be a 6 and a 7, which means that since 6 and 7 are both taken here, it means that one of these 2 has to be a 6. Because there cannot be a 6 on the bottom row in any of these 3 super squares. Let's call these squares and these super squares. So there has, and process of elimination, there's a 6 right there. So that's how we got from trying to solve this one to actually solving this square right here. So if there's a 6 and a 7 here, then it means the 2 and the, not the 9. It's a 2 and a, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it is a 9, sorry. I got confused between this column and this row. So the 2 and the 9 are both down here somewhere, which means since these can only be 2 and 9, it means that these are whatever else is missing in here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, which is not present. in anywhere that's relevant to our situation, and 5, which also is not present in any place that would be particularly useful. But it does mean that these are 4s and 5s, which means this cannot be a 5. Which also means that a 5 can only exist in one of these two. Okay, fair enough. But that was relatively obvious. But it's good to know that there can't be a 5 in here. But wait, there's more! If a 5 can't be in here, and it can't be in here, and it can only be in here, and it can't be in here, and that means the 5 has to be here. And that's logic for you folks. So what we're missing now is a 2 and a 9 on this row. And of course, we can't get the 9 or the 2 because they're not in any position to be particularly useful to us. However, there is a high probability that we'll have maybe a 2 and a 9 here. However, we still have to worry about something being here. So let's actually take a look at this square right here. So we're missing a 2 and a 9. What else are we missing? We're missing a 4. So we can't have a 4 here, which means the 4 has to be up here somewhere. However, that's not too useful to us at the moment because we've got other things to worry about. Okay. So now perhaps would be a good chance to take a look at this. So we're missing a 2 and a 4 in here. Of course, the 4 is not in a good position for us. So we don't really have... I mean, a 4 and a 9, sorry. So we don't really have any good reason to put anything anywhere in here. So we can also look at this segment. So we're missing a 2, a 9, a 4, and a 5. So can we eliminate the 5? We can eliminate the 5 from being up here. However, we don't have any 5s in the bottom segment, but we do know that there is a 5 in here, which means there can only be one other number in here. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. We've looked at that. So let's take a look at the logic on this side. Okay, a 4 can only be in one of these two spaces. A 5 could be anywhere. Yeah, it can be anywhere. We don't have any 5s in this entire area. However, having a 5 in one of these two places would be incredibly helpful for figuring out the rest. So we're looking for a 5 and a 4, neither of which we have, and a 2, which we also don't have. Okay, so not much to do here. So ideally we want to finish off a square. Okay, so a 4 is in one of these three. If it's not here, then it's obviously here. But it could be in one of these. Okay. Or it could be here, in which case we wouldn't have to worry about there being 2 4s in the immediate area. However, this entire area is blocked off, which means 4 can only be in one of these two spaces for this super square. And that increases the likelihood of a 4 being down here, however, not to the point where we can make any real guesses about it. So let's actually look at this super square. So we're looking for 4, which can only be in one of these 3 spaces, a 2, which could be anywhere, a 5, which also could be anywhere, and an 8, which is limited to the bottom half. Okay, I guess we'll look at something else. Oh, perhaps this would be a good idea. This. Okay. So we're looking for 9. 9 can be in any one of these three. A 1 is already there. 2 could be anywhere. Yeah, big problem there. 4 cannot be here. Could be here. Or here. And could be here as well. But only in one of these two. Well, obviously, my brain's getting fried now. We've got a 7, so we're looking for an 8. 8 can't be here. 8 can't be here, which means an 8 is either here or here. So, probability field for 8. One of these two or one of these two. Or rather, one of these two or one of these two. Well, and one of these two. So we've got an 8 somewhere in that area. But we haven't been able to limit to an overlapping probability field, or rather what I like to call an exclusivity probability field. For example, right here, there's only 2 numbers that can go in here, which means that, well, no, there's 2 numbers that can only go in one of these 2, which means that both of those numbers are going to fill up both of these, which means that they obviously can't be anywhere else. But anyway, that's a story for another time. Okay, so let's think about it. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the one that is, yes, the 6, 7, 8, 9. The 8. The 8s are finished around here. Actually, no, let's think about it. 8. Yeah, okay, we can't do anything with the 8. 4. Man. I might have to go a level deeper on the logic. If either that or I'm missing something pretty obvious. But I didn't think I'd have to go a level deeper on that one, but I might just have to. Okay. 7. Yeah, that's not too helpful. Nope. Not helpful at all. Let's think. Is there another one that's near complete, another row or column that we haven't looked at yet? Could look at this. 8 is blocked off here. Or wait, we could look at this one. That might be interesting. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. 1, we're missing a 2, could be anywhere. 3 could be, it's right here. 4, 5 can't be here. If it's not here, then it's is up here somewhere. So it's in one of these 2 is a 5, 6, and okay, 7. 7 could be one of these 2. It could also be one of it. Yeah, any one of these 3. 8 and 9. 9 can be one of these 3. So we've got a 7 and a 9 stuck up here, and a 5 that could be here or here, which complicates matters, and a 2 which could be anywhere. Okay, fair enough. Let's leave that alone for now, because I'm thinking about this one now. Wait, no, let's take a look at this one. This one's an interesting one. Okay, the 2. This is one of the few ones where we can actually eliminate spaces for the 2. So the 2 can't be here. The 4 can't be here either, and it can't be here, which means 4 is in one of these two. 3 is already there. 5, 6, 7. 7 is limited to one of these 3. 8 and 9. 9 could be anywhere. Okay, now let's look at this one. Well, no, we already did. Never mind. What am I doing? What am I thinking? Can't look at that one again. I have to look at something different. Okay. Let's see. 571 already exists in this space, so that's not too helpful. So we can't have a 9 here. So one of these 3 is a 9. But I don't see anyone that's really impossible for it to be a 9. Okay, I guess I have to think about this some more. Okay. So let's look at this. The 2 can be in any one of these 4. The 1 is there. 3, 4 is not blocked off anywhere. 4 is entirely functional. The 5 is in one of these 2, which isn't too helpful. 6 and 6 is there. 7, actually 6 is there. 6. Okay, never mind. 6 is not solvable for this super square. 7, 8. 8 is in one of these 2. Wait, was there something else that could only go in one of these 2? Let's think. Let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. 5 stuck in these 2. 6, 7 is here. 8. 8. We have a 6. 5, 4, 9. My brain. Anyway, I think that's enough for now. I'll maybe solve this later. But thank you all for watching or listening or whatever you've been doing right now. Oh, there's some ibises outside. That's interesting to watch. But I guess see you all next time. I might put some fancy music in the back. I think I've been droning way too long on this Sudoku, but if you do like playing Sudoku and you've had trouble with your Sudoku game, and perhaps me vocalizing some of this logic has helped you, then hopefully that's good. If it hasn't helped you, then I'm sorry. Perhaps you can give me advice. So thank you all for whatever you've been doing, and see you all next time. Anawiltos over and out.